Welcome to the Writer Dojo with your host, Steve Diamond.
Call me Steve. Steve Skywalker.
And Mary Correia.
I'm all the Jedi.
Today's episode, The Dangers of Mary Sue.
Right, everybody, welcome back to the Writer Dojo. Glad to have you all with us. All right, so this episode, Larry and I decided to record just a couple quick episodes to kind of intersperse with a bunch of the interviews and panels and stuff that we recorded while we were at Writer's Cantina. Just, variety. Kind of like what we talk about in our writing, how we're always like, watch for the flow. Everything can't be the same.
Yeah, we can't have like 8 weeks in a row of just interviews.
Yeah. We wanted to, we have a couple episodes here planned that a lot of them some of these are topics that have popped up in the Facebook group or something fairly recent that I experienced in terms of some weird editing stuff.
Yeah. Well, today's is a good one because it's something that I've heard a lot about in my career, and I'll talk about that. And there's a lot of misconceptions about what it is and when it's bad and why it's not necessarily bad and why a lot of things critics identify as it aren't even it.
Yeah. So keep in mind for this episode, the big thing is keep that Princess Bride quote in mind. You keep using that word or that term. It doesn't mean what you think it means.
That would have been a good one to open the episode
I know.
with. Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about today are the dangers of the Mary Sue, or Harry Stew, whatever. The male and female equivalent of theoretically, the self-insert, the person who's good at all the things while having no weaknesses and the best of the best with earning nothing. So let's talk about what
is it?
What is it?
Because there's a lot of misconceptions on this. A lot of times I see people get this thing where, well, my character is competent and likable, therefore they're a Mary Sue.
Well, and the critics will point that out and say that as well.
Or the critics are jerks, but critics will say they'll take any time a character has anything in common with the author, and they'll be like, well, clearly this is a self-insert character. A lot of people did this with Owen Pitt because he's an accountant and he's really good with guns and he's big. I wrote what I knew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it turns out that the first publishable book that you wrote as a guy who turns out you're an accountant, you're okay with guns, and
I'm really big.
Turns out you're a big guy.
Well, and the reason I went with accountant as a starting career was because I knew it, so I could talk about it, and it also is stereotypically boring to the general public, and so that fed into the whole.
Well, and it's the complete opposite of what the character actually becomes.
Right.
Right.
So where Mary Sue comes from is many years ago. There was famous fan fiction that was so bad, whereas Star Trek, and somebody wrote Ensign Mary Sue, and she came into the Enterprise. And she was better and smarter than everybody, and everybody loved her, and she was perfect and amazing. And Captain Kirk and Spock and McCoy all fell in love with her, because how could you not? Right. And so she was better at engineering than Scotty. She could sword fight Sulu, just whatever it is. Mary Sue was the best, and she just showed up and was awesome. And this is like a kind of a running gag from fan fiction and a running joke it's a trope where people will take an existing property and they'll shoehorn in a self-insert glorious character of awesomeness that overshadows all the existing characters.
Right.
And it's silly and it's cheesy. But the problem is Mary Sue, the terminology and the trope, made the jump over to regular fiction. The thing is, regular fiction, you're not writing in someone else's universe. You're writing your own universe. So if you have a character who is wicked awesome at everything, that's just the character that you created. It's your universe. That's not necessarily a Mary Sue. And if the character shares commonality with you, I've seen people scream Mary Sue, like Burn the Witch, because the character was a male and the author was male, or the character was female and the author was female, to the point where authors would sex swap their main point of view character to the opposite of what they were, just to
get around it,
just to not get yelled at.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly stupid. Your point of view character should be whatever the point of view character needs to be to tell the story the best.
I think part of the interesting thing here when it comes to this whole idea of the Mary Sue is there are hundreds and hundreds of examples of it, of what it actually is.
Well, and then we actually opened the episode with a couple quotes from some famous recent movies.
Yeah, and look, Rey.
Okay, so let's talk about Rey. We were talking about this at lunch, and forgive us, guys, if we're a little bit lethargic.
Yeah, we had all you can eat meat today.
We had Brazilian barbecue for lunch.
So we're dealing with the meat sweats at the moment.
Dude, I ate like 4 pounds of meat. Easily.
Yeah.
So
okay, anecdote. You and I were at a signing once. It wasn't our signing; it was someone else's signing. It was a book release. And after the book release, we went to a place called Rodizio Grill. It was at that by that Sam Weller's.
Yeah,
down in Salt Lake.
Salt Lake City.
So we went there. After it, there used to be this tradition with a few of the local authors who we don't actually really associate with anymore. But we had this tradition of after a book release and a signing, we would go to Rodizio, all of us. There's probably 15, 16 of us there. You and I were sitting across from each other and we were just grubbing on food. Just eating and eating and eating. You know, they would come over and they're like, would you like? And we just put our finger to the lips and say, shh, yes. Keep.
The
more
tongs,
slices,
the
more
tongs
slices.
never left my left hand. I was just
right.
like keep grabbing meat and throwing
right.
more meat on my plate.
And I recall about 2/3 of the way through the dinner, as you and I are just grubbing, and the other authors surrounding us just started watching us, almost with this morbid fascination of horror and
well, you're not a big dude.
interest.
You're not a big dude, but you appreciate meat and you used to run track.
And I can eat far more than what my size indicates.
Yeah, so you eat like a guy who used to run track.
Yeah.
I eat like a guy who looks like me.
Yeah. And so we were just eating and eating and eating. And the people around us were, at a certain point, were just kind of like, can you guys just stop? You're making us feel sick because you're eating too much. But that's how we roll.
That's why we don't hang out with these people anymore.
That's
They
how we
cry
roll.
Too much.
Look, if you're going to go get all you can eat meat, you better eat it.
And a flag waves behind me and an eagle screams.
That's right. Anyway,
Back to the show.
Now if we were writing that as a Mary Sue character, it would be just some 5'1", 98-pound person who somehow can out-eat, Nathan's hot dog champion.
Well, not only that, she's also super beautiful doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And all the other people wouldn't have been disgusted or annoyed or tired. They would think she was awesome.
Oh yeah, they would just put their chins in their hands, elbows on the table, and just watch.
So one of the things about Mary Sue is you don't work for stuff. The character doesn't work for stuff.
Yes.
So this is where we talked about Rey, who I think is kind of the epitome of this. Now, we were talking about this at lunch. At the beginning of the first sequel movie.
Yeah, call the first 45 minutes of the movie.
Okay, so actually before they screwed it all up, they introduced Finn as a really interesting character.
Yes.
Could have did a lot with the whole story. We talked about that on the show before.
Should have been a revolutionary.
Should have been the star. Should have been awesome. But they turned him into idiot comic relief. But then they introduced Rey as this like desert scavenger, and they actually gave her a pretty cool piece of character growth right at the beginning, where she's starving, but they try to buy the droid from her, and she says no because she's starving, but she would rather be uncomfortable than give away this cute little robot that's been nice to her, right? Yeah. Okay, that was kind of cool little character building. It's from that point on, however, when the story starts going, where she's just better at everything
than everyone. Yeah.
Okay, so think about it. So Han Solo is a guy who he basically lived on this spaceship for most of his life, and he's like this legendary smuggler. And this is his gig.
I mean, we had 3 movies of watching him be one of the best pilots in the galaxy.
Oh, but she's better than he is. Oh, and she also knows how to fix it. Even though she grew up as a scavenger living in like discarded... so like if you lived in a discarded battleship, but you know how to fix a Toyota Corolla.
Yeah.
Like automatically. Mm-hmm. Just because because that's how mechanics works. It's a single stat.
Yep.
But she was just better.
It progressively, as the movie goes on, she's better and knows how to do everything as it's introduced into the plot.
Right.
Whether we're talking about flying, sneaking around, being stealthy,
Hand-to-hand combat.
hand-to-hand combat, lightsabering. I mean, like it's ridiculous.
Well, and so on the other end of things, so you got Kylo Ren, who is supposedly is like, and then the introduction to him was excellent too, with the whole stop in the blaster bolt. That was
visually
super cool.
It was visually impressive, and it set the tone real early.
Yeah. So actually, the first half an hour or so of this show,
It's actually okay.
it's setting a pretty good bar, and then it just went to hell.
Yeah.
And then the next movie just like started a shotgun. So you got this where you have a character who's just super good. They have to work for it. Otherwise, the audience, I mean, you can have a character show up and be super badass as long as there's the idea that clearly Kylo Ren has worked really hard to be this badass when he shows up and he's a badass.
Right.
Okay. When you have Rey all of a sudden can fight him in hand-to-hand combat,
Because she had a staff.
because she had a staff on the desert planet, and at most maybe she fought Tusken Raiders. I don't know. But they didn't even have that though.
No.
And even then, so you got this guy who is so super badass. He's like they're trying to set him up as like a Darth Vader level character, and he comes in there and he can fight her fair and square. Come on, guys.
Well, again, this is you and I were talking about this during one of our episodes that we recorded live at Writer's Cantina, talking about the whole idea of the Winter Soldier, right?
Yeah.
In that atrocious Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV
That
show.
TV show is awful.
It's bad on all levels.
It's objectively horrible. There's not really anything positive to say about that piece of crap.
Sebastian Stan's a good actor.
I mean, that's the thing too. Actually, the whole cast is filled with really good actors. Really good. And the interesting thing on there is that was one of those on the Mary Sue thing. It just violated its own rules by existing.
I feel so bad for Kurt Russell's son.
I felt bad for every good actor. I feel bad for Anthony Mackie. You know?
But same sort of thing, right? Like, okay, Winter Soldier is at this point, I mean, in reality, what, 80, about 80 years old in reality. Super Soldier. He has a freaking vibranium arm.
He fought Steve Rogers to a standstill. He beat Steve Rogers in a fair fight.
Yeah.
He fought Iron Man.
Oh, they smoked Iron Man. Him and Captain America smoked Iron Man.
So if you look at Winter Soldier, the movie, they established
This guy is...
a bad mamma jam. And actually,
This dude's amazing.
that's probably one of the best Marvel movies.
Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And they established he's a total badass.
And then they give an 18-year-old the super soldier serum, and suddenly she knows kung fu. She fights him to a standstill. Somehow.
Right.
It makes no sense. It's not earned.
That pseudo villain character who they kept trying to make.
Don't call her a terrorist, though.
Yeah, don't call her a terrorist, even though she was like blowing crap up and killing innocent people. Was just so ridiculous. It was like they took a character, introduced a new character, and one of the things about Mary Sue's is the necessity of destroying the existing characters to bring them down so that new character can be above them.
Yes.
That's bad. That's just bad writing.
Yep. Well, yeah, I mean, this is the idea of every bad boss that you've ever had, right? The types of bosses where, and I've had a number of these of late where, their whole thing is, I'm going to shove you down and diminish you to make myself look better.
Yeah.
And that's what a Mary Sue does.
And if you take something like Winter Soldier, who's already an established, pretty dang cool character, who's been in a bunch of movies and people really like him, and then you have to tear him down to make her better,
You've that's bad writing.
you didn't have it's just bad writing. And it's the same thing with Rey being better than Han Solo.
Yeah, the instant she shows up and she knows how to work the Millennium Falcon better than the ship that he's had that he grew up in, effectively.
If you have a character and you want to introduce a character that's going to be extremely good at stuff, you can do that.
Oh yeah.
But you need to provide logical story reasons in the story, not theory crafted by fans trying to make excuses afterwards.
Well, okay. So what was... I remember you and I talking about this after episode 7 came out. And I think that one of the main things that you and I were talking about, and we heard this from a number of other people, was, okay, she's so good at this, there has to be a reason. She must have already had all the training, and that they like force blocked it in her mind or something.
Right.
So that, and what's happening is that block is cracking.
There was a lot of theory crafting that was going to get revealed in the next movie.
Turns out no.
No, they just didn't, because
No, it turns out she was just good because somehow Palpatine returned.
Because that would require some thought being put into the most expensive IP in human history.
Yeah.
I mean, heaven forbid you actually have a meeting, have actual writers, man, just power of diversity. Will you just plow through and make it? If anybody complains, just call them a racist. Which is funny because I still think Finn is the guy that got hosed.
Finn got screwed. He really did. And again, they had to diminish him in order to make Rey seem even more powerful.
Well, then
same with Poe.
The next movie they introduced Rose, and the same thing. They had to dumb Finn down.
Well, and to be honest, they end up screwing that character over as well.
Yeah, and then ultimately she didn't. She was
nonsense. She was just a sideshow.
She was a sideshow that they tried to make cool for whatever reason. Second movie, and I don't know why. And then the third movie, she just disappeared because she's so wildly unpopular in the second. Just nonsensical. Just poorly written dreck.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to delve into this too and talk about more so what people are misconstruing as Mary Sue, and how to actually make it work for you. So we'll be right back.
They're specialists, corporals, and petty officers. They're the military personnel who have learned some leadership and gained experience in their specialty. Work smarter, not harder is their watch phrase, followed by, if you ain't cheatin', you ain't trying. The masters of avoiding work, getting up to shenanigans, and when a mission needs to be completed or a job done, it's an E4 that others turn to. They are the near-mythical E4 Mafia, and their ability to avoid work, solve problems, and create trouble is the stuff of legend. Henchman Press presents 11 stories of the E4 Mafia in a variety of settings and situations sure to thrill and entertain anyone with an interest in military fiction, science fiction, a sense of humor, and the curiosity to peek under the rug to see what got swept there. Get Tales of the E4 Mafia from Amazon.com today.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Okay, top half of the episode, we talked about what a Mary Sue is and why it's, to use the buzzword of today, of these days, problematic. It's actually problematic, not
yeah, we're talking real story problems, not the imaginary people like to whine on Twitter.
Yes.
Problematic.
Okay. Now, I think, Larry, that one of the biggest misconceptions, and we touched on this to start, is that competence is being misconstrued as being a Mary Sue.
And that's just silly, because heroic characters, for most normal genres, a heroic character is somebody who is by definition competent at something special that makes them capable.
Or becomes competent as the story goes.
Yeah, or they're not at first, and the story follows them as they grow. There's the entire genre of progression fantasy, which is the next thing I'm working on. That's the whole basic concept, is zero to hero. And it's about people gaining competency and gaining proficiency and doing bigger things.
Yeah, I mean, this is every discovering I'm a superhero story.
Right. When there's tons of those.
Yeah.
Okay, so like in my own work, I'm going to pick on hard magic for a second. I have Jake Sullivan show up at the very beginning of the book, and he's already a badass. He becomes more of a badass as the series goes on. But when we first meet this dude is a war hero. He's a bona fide war hero.
Was a detective.
He was a detective, and he was an ex-con in the hardest prison in the world, because it was a prison specifically for magical people.
Yeah.
The dude was also an autodidactic genius. He was one of those guys who was a self-taught, brilliant person who gained access to a prison library, and that was the greatest thing ever. In between, the most dangerous, hardened, magical criminals in the world taking shots at him, he would go to the library and read books.
Yeah.
And so, but the very beginning of this book, this guy is established as a bad dude. He is tough and smart. He's all these like super proficient things, right? But nobody ever accuses Jake Sullivan of being a Mary Sue with me because I'm nothing like Jake.
No.
So I got that going for me right there, except I guess maybe we're both like white heterosexual males, which is enough for some people.
I mean, quote unquote white.
Well, I'm spicy white. He's Irish.
That's right.
Yeah, so he's really white. Well, actually, Ben, those, and the thing is, it was set in 1932. He wasn't. He was actually, the Irish were looked down upon, especially in the locations the book takes place.
Yep.
So I've got this character, but he is established as why he's so badass.
Yep.
And so there's not really any question. So when this dude is extremely
Other people
proficient,
know who he is already.
yeah, and so when it comes into a situation, people are like, oh, it's this guy, and he's known to be proficient, and he's known to be dangerous. They don't know he's smart, because that's something that he because he doesn't look smart. Mm-hmm. He's actually a really rough around the edges, blue collar kind of guy.
That's very much the Conan trope, right? It's the manly tough guy, and everyone's like, oh, he's a manly tough guy, and it's like, but he's also smart. That's okay.
Yes, Conan is a brilliant intellect, right?
Yes.
And people forget that part.
Yep.
I mean, Conan was super smart. And so, I don't know if you guys can hear the F-35s flying right by.
Maybe. We'll see. If you do, it's the sound of freedom, baby.
That's the sound of freedom, baby. We're not editing it out. That's the sound of awesomeness right there. So, with Jake, people aren't really accusing him of being a Mary Sue because it's established why. I introduced Faye, who, as the series goes on, and when the series starts, she's 0.
Yep.
But as the series goes on, she becomes the most powerful and dangerous person literally in the world.
Yep.
I mean, she by the end of the series, she one-shots a battleship.
I mean, because she can.
She in like 2 minutes. It's like a minute and 48 seconds. She takes out a battleship full of people. So to put this in perspective, though, she didn't start badass. She had to work for every step of the way.
She progressed both through work and also because of external forces applied to her,
which you discover as the story goes on.
Right.
So I didn't reveal it all at once, but there was enough there that it makes sense. I did have one criticism early on in a review of the first book. Somebody whined, and they're like, I don't like how she got stronger at the pace of plot, which is an idiotic thing to say. Yeah. But then the second book comes out in the series, and it explains more about how the magic system works, with it being in hard magic, basically magic is a alien symbiote.
Yeah.
And the reason she got more powerful as the plot progressed is every time people would die around her with magical abilities, she would absorb those.
Yeah, she was a sponge in a sense.
She's basically a sponge of picking up other people's connections to magical power. And so, and I had this plan since the beginning, so it doesn't really come out till the end of the second book. And the same reviewer is like, oh, well, I guess I was wrong about that. Which was actually nice to have somebody admit it, which is super rare.
Happen.
That never happens.
Yeah.
Critics always think they're smarter than the writer.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, and the thing is a lot of times in fiction, I mean, we don't have the real estate to sit down and just explain everything for you. One, like I said, sometimes you just don't have the page count or the word count.
Or
but also
boring
it's
to
just
just dump
boring.
it. Yeah.
So like at the end of, when I was writing Parasite, at the very end of it, the epilogue, there's kind of a small twist in the epilogue that has to do with his grandpa, who's been dead for a long time, but who's been feeding him dreams somehow. And in that story, I say why, like how it happened. But at the end, like his grandpa talks to him directly at the very, very end. And I had a reviewer be like, well, if he could do that, how come he didn't do that from the beginning? I'm like, just give me 5 minutes. Like, that was the ending hook at the very end of book 2. Like I'd already planned on how I'm explaining that in book 3 to start. And if I explain it right there, it's not like a quick hook at the end to be like, what? Like, it would have lost all impact.
I always love when I close a book and I don't explain every thread, and people cry about, why did you explain this whole thing? Because it's like another 120,000 word book.
That's what the next book is.
Yeah, get off my back. It doesn't all fit, guys. Oh, man. So the Mary Sue thing, you can have, talking to Conan, Conan by these people's idiot standards would be a Mary Sue. But here's a kicker.
Not even close.
Not even close, especially if you know anything about Howard. So the interesting thing is here, anytime there's a, like, what would be considered an OP character, an overpowered character, people will, like, freak out, call Mary Sue. It's all bullcrap. Because if they're really good, but the story requires them to be really good, or there's a reason they're really good, then it's awesome. Batman is amazing at everything by the willpower of Batman.
Yes.
You know?
It's because he's Batman.
Yeah,
I'm Batman.
He's Batman. He's got a lot of money, and the guy will win at anything.
And he's wicked smart, and he knows Kung Fu because he's trained with the best.
He trained with ninjas, you know, in the Himalayas or whatever. Yeah. So he's Batman. And be like, well, Batman's a Mary Sue. Well, another thing, too, about Mary Sue is like you got to have imperfections in your characters. All characters have imperfections.
Yes.
A Mary Sue character is somebody who's too perfect.
Well, who has no imperfections?
Or they have no imperfections. They have no flaws. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, what are Ray's flaws? She cares too hard. Yeah. I don't know. I mean...
everybody likes her too much.
Yeah. I mean, she's an orphan who shows up and then...
Her flaw is she's like she has genetic clone from Palpatine, apparently. That's her flaw. And it's like, that's not enough.
Yeah. I mean, so if your flaw is something that makes you secretly more badass...
Yeah.
That's not really a flaw.
Correct.
That's just something that makes you more secretly badass. That's not a flaw at all. It's like, oh, it's so uncool that I'm like really super powered.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, when I say flaw characters, I mean, you don't have to take that too far. It depends on the kind of character you're trying to... I mean, if you're writing The Boys, every single character is a scumbag psychopath.
Yeah.
Sociopathic nut bar.
Yeah.
Sexual deviant pervert.
Well, and
weirdo murderer.
And they all have, and they are all heavily flawed humans.
That's what that story is about.
Yes.
So, I mean, but if you're writing anything and you have an absolutely perfect character, unless you're writing a book about Jesus,
right?
You really can't have somebody be flawed. Even Superman has issues. Superman has challenges. Mm-hmm. Superman also has reasons he's as awesome as he is.
Yeah, he's an alien.
But part of his challenges is he is so awesome. He is that god among men, yet he still restrains it and is a good dude.
Yes. Most of his his actual real challenges are internal and like social.
Yeah.
Right. I think that we've talked about this a number of times. I think when we talk about the creation of characters, and one of the things that you and I always talk about is, okay, yeah, like let's talk about why your character's cool, why he's awesome, whatever. Let's use Julie Shackelford for a sec. Julie Shackelford is awesome and amazing. She's freaking awesome with a sniper rifle.
Yeah. I don't get accused of Mary Sue on her though, because she's a woman.
Yeah. But what are Julie's weaknesses?
Oh, she's actually got quite a few.
Probably not the person you want in an up close fist fight.
Oh no,
because physics matters.
She'd get murdered. She recognizes that though. She's also got some serious family issues.
Massive family and trust issues.
She's got trust issues. She's actually got a lot of. I've written this subtly into the system, especially in the books, especially since it's from the perspective of the man who loves her. So he like really overlooks a lot of this stuff. But she's actually got a lot of baggage because of her mom and dad, like huge baggage.
They're messes.
Yeah, and also she's got a lot of guilt issues. A lot of guilt issues because a lot of people have died around her since she was a little girl.
Yeah, I mean, she almost has de facto survivor's guilt.
Well, yeah, and some of them like they're not her fault.
No,
but she lived and they didn't.
Yeah,
and so she's got hang-ups about that, and she always have. And now like later on, she's a mom, and she is a mother bear, man. She is a fierce, a fierce mom. But she's also got those motherly instincts for her whole company, and so it's flawed character. Like Owen gets his ass beat all the time. One thing about the Mary Sues is like the Mary Sue just like flawlessly. Owen headbutts his way through challenges. He also has anger management issues. He screws up all the time. He makes wrong decisions all the time. He's trusted people he shouldn't have trusted. He's not trusted people he should have trusted. He's made bad calls. He's actually made calls that have gotten people killed unnecessarily. And that's something he has struggled with since.
Yep.
Especially in there's a big call he makes at the end of Vendetta that costs another main character their life, and he is guilt stricken about that for years, for several more books, and he finally gets a chance to put that right, and he can't.
I think what's interesting, and I do this a lot when I'm creating characters, and that's that. Yes, I want them to be good at something. I definitely do, because it's fun to write characters who are competent. It's fun. But I also, because of the genres I tend to write in, or the elements of genres I tend to use, I like inputting the things that make them weak, or the things that debilitate them, or the things that they fear.
Yeah.
Because that allows me to punish those characters who are competent.
Yeah. John McClane on Die Hard suffers, and he screws up, and he's a terrible husband. He makes bad calls, and he suffers more, and he suffers more, and he pays for his hubris whenever he has any. But he tries to do the right thing. Ultimately, he's a badass hero, and it's one of the greatest movies ever made. But John McClane ain't just a perfect character. It's not like some of the. I mean, I like The Rock as an actor. I mean, I think he's fun. Mm-hmm. But you notice The Rock's characters tend to be infallible and amazing. Mm-hmm. He never loses a fight.
No.
He always kicks butt. He's always super cool. He does some comedy movies where he gets lower.
Well, that's the genre of The Rock.
Right. It's like we want that bigger than life hero that does no wrong and is super awesome always. And it just kind of depends what you're writing, but like as long as that fits in with everybody else, it works. I got Ashok Vidal as the most badass dude in the freaking universe, but he is borderline autistic. I mean, Ashok's on the spectrum.
Him and emotion don't really.
The guy's a mess, right? And like anybody who's read the books knows. I mean, so I've established this guy is the baddest warrior in the universe,
right? And
everybody recognizes he's the baddest warrior in the universe, but he's a bag of nuts, and he's the hero. I love this guy. I love writing this guy, but Ashok is a flawed person. I'm 6 books in, and he's still figuring out how to be a human being.
Well, I mean, in Servants of War, our 4 main characters
sociopathic murderer.
Yes. But don't worry, he's our sociopathic murderer, so
he's on our side.
You have Natalia, who, I mean, she trusts almost no one.
Oh, yeah, she's got nuance to her. She's got flaws. She trusts almost no one, and because she's been screwed over. She's from a conquered people. Yep. Basically, people who've been enslaved because of their magical abilities. She gets treated like crap. She's racist.
She hates people.
Oh, she especially hates Kolakovians.
Yeah,
who she works for.
Yes,
against her will.
Yeah, I mean, and she has. I mean, and you and I have talked a little bit about it, and we threw some hints in there. I mean, she has a history of violence from a young age.
Yeah, she's seen some horrible things. Her people were conquered brutally.
Yeah,
and then enslaved, and her parents live in a prison camp.
Yes, and then you have Ilarion.
Yep.
Who his skills are he's strong and he's motivated.
Yep. He's a great because that's a guy we could have Mary Sued the hell out of Ilarion.
It would have been very easy to Mary Sue him,
especially. But
it was way more fun to make him as far away from Mary Sue as we could get.
Because he is a bona fide hero. He is a rise to the occasion.
He's like one of the last honorable men in that world.
Yeah, we did that. He's a paladin in a world that has no paladins left. And that's how he is. Mm-hmm. But he is also, he is screwed up, man. He is screwed up.
Effed up.
He has failed and failed and failed and failed some more.
And he's had so many people die around him.
Well, and here's the thing. We did make him supernaturally good at something.
One thing.
But there's a reason for it.
Yes.
We've established what the reason is. We have to explain it further in the next one.
Yeah.
But he still has to work for it.
Yeah.
He's better than everyone else. But he didn't just show up and like, I'm magic. Well, he did. They just didn't realize it at the time.
Yeah.
Because he can't read. He's also illiterate.
Yeah.
And like, hey, read these magical runes. He's like, I can't.
I can't.
He go away.
Yeah.
I love that plot point.
I mean, and that's the thing is for him, progress, he has 3 kind of distinct lanes of progress. He has progress as a warrior and a hero, which is probably where you see the most progress in him during the book. You also see him in progress in relationships,
Yep.
and that's hard fought for him.
Well, as a man, and plus with Natalia being the love interest, that was one where it was she hates his people, but she loves him.
Yeah.
Because he's like, once again, he's like one of the only decent men
Yeah.
she's ever known.
And then, of course, there's the lower progress, but I think the important progress of him just becoming educated.
He becomes more conniving and dishonest as the book goes on because he has
to.
to survive in this world because it's a dark, gritty world.
And that whole realization is interesting. And then, of course, you have Amos, who
He's a PTSD addled war survivor.
he checked himself into a prison
To hide. Yeah. I mean, he's a
while building a weapon of mass destruction.
He's a disgraced rabbi. Like he is a disgraced rabbi from a fallen, captured people.
Yep. And so the flaw, just like you and I talk about all the time in terms of the idea of contrast. The weaknesses that your characters have accentuate their strengths, and then vice versa as well. But I think that the misconception that so many critics have and so many people have and so many authors have is that, well, if I accentuate those strengths, well, then suddenly I've made this character into a Mary Sue.
No, and that's not true. As long as you could do what we just did and take some characters and break them down and where they're human and where they fall short and where they have to strive and where they have to struggle, as long as you can do that honestly about the character, then they're not a Mary Sue.
Yeah, I mean, and I think one of the biggest things that you can do for your characters is have them to break this potential mold is to actually have them fail.
Yep.
Like legit, not like, oh, Superman failed today because he only saved 1 million people and not 1,000,001. You know what I mean?
He didn't save the puppy.
Ray only learned 18 new force powers in these last 5 minutes instead of 20. That's a failure.
Yeah.
No.
Only levitating a 50-ton boulder.
Yeah. And what I'm talking about is actual legitimate failure.
Yeah.
So, like in my novel Parasite, the whole book ends on a colossal failure that the character fails. He's trying to do the right thing, but he fails so hard that it causes the apocalypse.
I mean, yeah, and that's humanity, man. That's life.
And that is what he deals with for the entire third book, is the guilt of that. He's like, people are like, well, but you saved billions. And he's like, I killed billions.
Yep.
And that guilt is destroying him as the book goes on.
It's one of those, as long as you can break it down, and it doesn't have to be that dark, guys. That's
Again, horror author.
Steve's a horror author. As long as you can break it down, why they are and where they come from, and why they are the way they are, and that they still have to struggle, then it's not a Mary Sue. Just like in real life, there's that meme about that one guy who was a Navy SEAL, a Harvard doctor astronaut.
Yeah.
Remember that guy? And then there's like the famous, and because he's an Asian guy, there's always the jokes about Asian parents.
Of course. Yeah.
And so the next meme is somebody who's like, my greatest, and he's also Asian, is like, my greatest fear in life would be that if his mom and my mom were friends.
Yeah. The guy probably also played violin or something.
Yeah, Navy SEAL doctor astronaut. So the thing is, in real life, guys, there are Navy SEAL doctor astronauts. That's a real thing.
They're rare.
They're rare.
That's okay.
That's okay. Heroes are rare.
Yeah.
The kind of people that we write about in stories, in genre fiction, that are heroes are usually rare people. That's what makes them cool. That's what makes them interesting.
The characters just have to earn it. I think that's the biggest thing for me.
Oh, and I guarantee Navy SEAL doctor astronaut.
Oh, he earned it.
Oh, he earned it. I guarantee his mom yelled at him.
Well, and some of that he probably earned with blood. I mean,
oh yeah.
And And so that's the thing. I hope, guys, that what you're learning from this is that, one, don't be afraid of competence with your characters. It's okay. And in fact, I think it's needed.
I could have wrote Rey. Actually, he's a great character.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I could have wrote. I honestly, even if they did the whole dumb clone of Palpatine thing, I could have made her a great character.
Actually, there's a lot of ways where we could have made
Oh yeah,
Rey a clone of Palpatine and actually make it good.
there's
My gosh, I would have actually had her fall.
there's 100 authors. There's 100 writers that could have took the same exact building blocks.
Imagine a
made it
story
good.
where at the midpoint towards the end of movie 2, the, lack of a better term, the streams cross, where Kylo Ren becomes the good guy and Rey becomes the bad guy.
Yeah, where
because she succumbs and he redeems.
he has to he falls to doubt about his crazy genocidal path, and she actually gets corrupted by her magnificent
blood?
superpowers.
Yeah,
And
then the whole movie 3 is about him trying to save her.
And I'd still make the main arc about Finn going from stormtrooper to badass.
He'd become a stormtrooper who basically leads an entire army of stormtroopers to secede.
Plus, our bad guys wouldn't have sucked.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have had a terrible choreographed, what was it? Not Death Star fight. What was it?
Oh, the throne room fight?
The throne room fight.
Oh, gosh.
It was like just people are just hanging out in the back waiting for their turn.
Yeah. It's so much worse than, it's like when you watch it, you're like, oh, pretty colors. Then you watch it a second time and you're like, oh, no, compare that. Not this is the topic, but go watch on YouTube. Just pull up Man from Nowhere knife fight.
Ooh, that's good.
Okay.
That fight's good.
It's like, just watch this 8-minute clip. It's Man from Nowhere knife fight.
Man from Nowhere is good. Man from Nowhere is Man on Fire level good.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's the same kind of movie.
Yeah, it's a revenge movie.
Yeah.
But you watch that and then you compare that to so one has the donut budget of Jedi. They made this entire Korean movie. But man, that yeah.
I mean,
you'll see what I mean. Just watch that. Trust me, guys.
Or gosh, I mean, some of the fights in that Indonesian flick, The Night Comes for Us.
Oh, that's a good flick. Or it's from the guys that did the raid.
That did the raid, yeah.
Oh, the fights in the
or Headshot,
raid.
right? Like,
holy crap!
They're so violent, and people are just getting their butts kicked left and right.
Yeah,
and they are wrecked.
Yeah.
At the end, and they're very intentional about how the fighting is done, because it's being done in narrow spaces where the character can control the flow.
Yeah, whereas The Last Jedi is like, they did it in a big open space, and so there's like 6 bad guys waiting their turn.
Yeah.
And there's one where they actually like, so I was watching it was a Shadiversity video, and they were showing how like we would swing the blade at them, but they actually like CGI'd out the blade because it like, then that way like nothing passed through Rey.
Yeah.
Because it would have just, or other times we're like hacking at the air where there's nobody there, but they're like twirling and hacking at nothing.
Well, the thing is, again, because they've turned Rey into a Mary Sue, right?
Oh, she can't get.
But they didn't even embrace it in that scene. Look, we all saw the end of Rogue One, where Darth Vader enters the chat.
Dude, no, that was
and
rad.
murders everyone.
That was one of the coolest sequences in the entire Star Wars universe, and it made Darth Vader scary as hell again.
He was Jason.
He was Friday the 13th, and you were a camper.
Yeah. Yeah. You were all slutty campers.
And it doesn't matter how fast you run, he's gonna walk and he's gonna catch you.
Imagine that same scene, but where Kylo Ren or whatever, and Rey are like force lifting the other people and throwing them against each other, impaling them on other people's weapons. I mean, that's how I would have written it.
Oh, that would have been way cooler.
But
we could have wrote the crap out of that.
Here's one of the biggest troubles with Mary Sueism, and that's that they're good at everything until they need the plot to slow down.
Yeah. Then it's not that they are bad, it's just that they're just good enough to move the plot to the next area.
Yeah. They don't even embrace it to have a scene of awesome. And again, it's always at the expense of other characters who are already established. So, moral of this story is, one, don't be like Star Wars is right now. Because right now, like don't be like the Acolyte, guys.
Oh, we haven't even talked about that show.
Like, let's not have a 15 or 18 minute lightsaber fight where they kill all the characters that no one cares about.
I actually feel bad for the Sith, the guy that plays the actor, or the actor that plays the Sith in that, because he's the dude from The Good Place. So he actually's got a lot of range. He's a good actor, and I just hope this dog crap doesn't damage his career.
Even the actor who plays one of the main Jedis, the Korean dude
Well,
from
Squid Game guy, yeah.
If you actually watch him in Squid Game or some of the other shows that he's been in, he's actually a really good actor.
Poor guy.
They're just, I mean, Carrie Ann Moss is in it for 3 seconds.
She's great. She's a great actress.
But in that world, the only thing that are lethal are bladed weapons, not lightsabers anymore. So anyway, this is not an episode where we rail against Star Wars, although it kind of is.
They're just the worst offenders recently.
Well, it's because they've delved too far into the Mary Sue, right? Every character, male and female, is a Mary Sue within Star Wars right now. And that's because they're misconstruing what competence is. They think that if they're competent, that means they have to be good at everything.
That's what happens when your writers are a bunch of puds from a very sheltered background who've never done anything interesting in their life.
Well, and who don't actually appreciate source material.
Except for Harvest Young Women for Harvey Weinstein.
Right.
Yeah.
So with that on that happy note, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Again, if you guys have any questions or you want us to elaborate further, shove the questions our way. We'll answer them, especially for our supporters. And for you supporters out there, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. This is the Writer Dojo. We'll see you on the next one.
WriterDojo is Steve Diamond and Larry Correia. Produced by Jack Wilder and Bear and Hare Studios. Theme song for Mercenaries by Craig Nybo. New episodes come out every Wednesday wherever you stream your content. If you enjoyed this podcast, you can help support us by going to anchor.fm/WriterDojo, by leaving a 5-star rating and review, and by helping to spread the word. To advertise on the Writer Dojo, email ads@writerdojo.com. All questions and comments can be emailed to questions@writerdojo.com.
Well, critics are jerks.